Okay. So I was mentioning that to the very important people present and the empty screen that I wanted to talk about something from last week. From last week's Parsha, for a couple of reasons. One is that it's not just from last week's Parsha, it's something that is connected to the overall arc of the story of Yosef and his brothers, which continues in this week's Parsha and next week's Parsha. But also because of how it happened for me. I was looking at what amounted to just a couple words in the Parsha and just sort of thinking about them, turning them around in my head. And then suddenly it was like a bigger something emerged. And I was comparing it to like being in a room somewhere and you know something's a little bit out of order and you're just trying to figure out what it is, and you start like tapping on the wall and you notice there's something hollow, there's a hollow sound, and you figure out there's a secret door to a staircase behind there. So that's how it sort of felt for me. So I very much want to share this with you. You may not have the same feeling I did in the end, but I had the feeling, and therefore I want to talk about it. Okay, so we are back in Vayeshev. So we're back in Vayeshev. We are at Sheni. We're at the second Aliyah of the Torah portion. That's chapter 37, verse 12. Vayelchu echav liros etzon avihem b'Shechem. So his brothers, this is Yosef's brothers, they went to shepherd their father's sheep in Shechem. Vayomer Yisrael el Yosef, and Yisrael says to Yosef, Yisrael being Yaakov, he says to Yosef, Halo achecha ro'im b'Shechem. Behold, your brothers are shepherding in Shechem. Lecha, go, ve'eshlachacha aleichem, and I will send you to them. Vayomer lo hineni, and he says, hineni, here I am. Vayomer lo, and he says to him, Lech na re'eh es shlom achecha ve'shlom hatzon. Go, please, and see how your brothers and how the sheep are doing. See the shalom. See, are they whole, or see how they're doing. Vashiveni davar, and then return to me, or with a matter. In other words, with word or with a matter. Vayishlachehu me'emek Chevron, and he sent him from the valley of Hebron, Vayovo Shchema, and he approached Shechem. V'yimatzehu ish, and a man found him. V'hinei toa basoda, he was lost. He was lost in the field. V'shaleo ish lemor matav akesh, and this man asked him, "What do you seek?" Vayomer esachai anochi mavakesh, and he said, I seek my brothers. Hagida nali efo hem roi, please tell me, where are they shepherding? Vayomer haish, and the man said, Nos umizeh, they traveled from this. In other words, they were here, but they've left. Ki shamati omrim, I heard them saying, Nelcha dosoina, let's go to Dotan. Vayelech Yosef achar echav, and Yosef went after his brothers. V'yimtzaim b'Dotan, and he found them in Dotan. And then it goes on to tell the story of how they see him, etc. So this is where I, was, and I was looking around here. So there are three primary indicators to me that something is going on here that's deeper than the simple reading of the text. One is, why is Yaakov sending him when he knows full well that they hate him? That's one question. And then I don't know if it's question number two or feature number two, is that when Yaakov asks him to go, Yosef's response is Hineni. And Hineni is famously said by Yitzchak on the way to the Akedah. It's one of these words that suggests you are present for something momentous. If somebody says Hineni, I am here, I am present, if they say it like this, it appears in moments where something momentous, very difficult, is about to happen, and they know it, and they're still here, not going anywhere. So Hineni was another, like, why is he saying Hineni over here, except that he knows he's about to go somewhere dangerous, and his father's asking him to go somewhere dangerous. So somehow Yosef knows, but Yaakov doesn't know it. You could say that, but so he says Hineni. The other thing is, he encounters this mysterious man, which the Midrash tells us is an angel. This is the third time that we have angels referred to as men, as people. We have it with the men who approach Abraham, the three men who eventually we see are angels. You have it when Yaakov wrestles with a mysterious man, which we're told is an angel. It's the angel of Esav. And you have it here where it says a man finds him, and we're told in the Midrash this is also an angel. And the angel sends him to his brothers without warning. Like Yaakov seems to not care that he's sending Yosef into danger, and now this angel is sending him, no warning that they're going to try to kill you, or you may not want to go see them or anything like that. Yosef asks for them, and then this angel just sends them right in. So that it's just, again, could you answer these things away? You can answer them away. Are they earth-shattering questions? They're not earth-shattering questions. Could you explain Hineni in a different way? You could explain Hineni in a different way, but it's just, it feels like there's something much deep, something else. There's something deeper going on here. So now for a little bit of background, I have this friend named Rabbi Shane Garten. He used to live in West Riders Park. Now he lives in Lakewood. Truth be told, I haven't had a chance to speak with him in quite some time, but we're friends. And he's a mystical kind of guy. He dabbles in the mystical. When I used to give meditation classes, he would come and speak to the group and suggest meditations. He's a Ger Chassid. He's the last guy you would think would dabble in it and share it, with like groups of people like he did. But anyways, one time it was Shalashudas. We davened at the same shtibel, Rabbi Weisblum shtibel in West Riders Park. It was a little shul in a house. And he came up to me and he goes, "You want to learn how to talk to angels?" And I said, "No, I don't think I'm ready for that." And because of that, I don't know how to talk to angels today. But Yosef is talking to angels over here. So, talking to an angel over here. So I'm prepared for the idea that something very deep is happening because he's in conversation with an angel. And every time somebody's in conversation with angels, we always take that very seriously. Also, although I don't know how to talk to angels, I have read a little bit about how to make contact with angels. Again, I've never done it, and I haven't ever tried any of these methods, but I have read some. In the back of the Gates of Holiness, the Shari Kedusha of Reb Chaim Vital, he has some techniques for speaking to angels. And one of the things that I always found for me a little bit surprising was that when you encounter these angels, the next step is ask them your question. It's like you've been waiting with a question, and now that you've got this communication, you're going to ask your question. What is your question? And I would always think to myself, who says I have a question? Why? Maybe I don't have a question. Maybe I just want to encounter an angel, like have the experience of encountering an angel. Why is there assumption I have a question? So here's the few words that I was looking at. I wasn't looking for the answer to all of this problem. I was just looking at this line, and it was only afterwards that I realized that this answers a lot of the questions. Because in Pasuk Tes Zayin, which is verse 16, I'm sorry, in Pasuk Tes Vav, verse 15, before Tes Zayin, it tells us that the angel found him, the man found him. Yosef is sort of lost in the field. Vaish alehu ha'ish. And the man asked him, Ma tvakesh, what do you seek? What do you seek? This is that thing. That's that moment with an angel. When you're encountering an angel, you're supposed to ask it your question. What is your question? What is your quest? What is your quest? What are you seeking? What are you seeking? There's an assumption that when you encounter an angel, it's because you are seeking something. They don't just pop up. They're not going to hang out with you. You're not going to the movies with an angel. If you're encountering an angel, it's because you need something. You're on some kind of quest. What is your question? What do you seek? That's what he says. Ma tevakesh. What do you seek? This is any of us. If we encounter an angel, it's going to ask us this question. Ma tevakesh. What do you seek? This is the question angels ask. Because when you're encountering angels, that's what they're there for. You have a question. If you don't know your question, you're just not in touch with your question. You don't understand your question. You don't know that you have a question. You're seeking something. You wouldn't be encountering an angel if you're not seeking something. That's why the angels are there, because you're seeking something. So what he answers is going to come from the depth of his being, because he's encountering an angel. This is not, again, a casual moment. These moments are communication from the very depths of his being. And he says, Es achai anochi mavakesh. I seek out my brothers. Hagida nali efo hem roim. Tell me where they are shepherding. So this is the deepest of the deep. When he says, I'm seeking my brothers, he's saying the deepest of the deep. Okay, now, this phrase, I seek out my brothers, is 4 words. Es achai anochim avakesh. I seek out my brothers. My brothers, I seek out, or I request, I'm looking for. But there is another way to read these words. Es achai could mean my brothers, and the word et is sort of almost like an extra word in biblical Hebrew in that context. But there is another way of translating these 2 words, and that is with my brothers. With my brothers. So there are several places in the Torah. So it says, Es et ha-Elokim hitalech Noach. Noach walked with God. And there's Chava says, I acquired a man et Elokim. She acquired man with God. She used the word et. There are times when et means with. So this is what I was playing with. I was just looking at these words. I am seeking my brothers, and I realized you could read it like this: with my brothers, I seek Anochi. Now, Anochi can mean I, like Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I'm the Lord your God. So it can mean I, the personal I, but it can also mean I, the capital, it's always capital I, but the large font I. In other words, they may be one in the
interchangeable.
Right. In other words, it could be the path to one is how you get to the other. But it could be read that with my brothers I seek Anochi. Tell me where they are shepherding. So that was the doorway behind the wall. But then as I'm opening it and walking up the stairs, another possibility presented itself to me, and that's what I want to share with you. And it goes like this. Yaakov. Annoyingly, at the end of Yaakov's life, Yaakov, when Yosef presents his sons, Yaakov blesses the younger one with the right hand and the older one with the left hand. In other words, he bestows what appears to be a higher status on the younger one over the older one. And Yosef says, no, that because Yaakov was apparently blindish at that time, and Yosef says, you got your hands on the wrong sons. And he said, I know what I'm doing. There's a reason I'm doing it. And you're going like, how can he still do this? Did he not see everything that had happened? Because he did that with Yosef to begin with. Everything that unfolded and all the craziness. And somehow they got out of it. The family survived it. But wow, how they survived it. I mean, and then he does it again at the end. So I am suggesting that there is a way of reading what is unfolding as a design of Yaakov from the beginning that is dangerous, that puts all sorts of people at risk, but he's doing it because he feels this is the only way that things can play out. Perhaps this is because he understands that there's some kind of underlying something. Some people might use the word karma as we use karma, not in the Indian sense, but we use it in the Western understanding of it. Like you put out something and something comes back at you kind of thing. Measure for measure, and what we call mita connected mita, that there's something going on in his life and in his lineage that it needs to be resolved. And the only way it's going to get resolved is if this path is taken. This path is going to have to lead to everybody going down to Egypt and the Jewish people in slavery in Egypt in order for this thing to get fixed. Because there's something that went wrong, and who knows where it started. Maybe it started with him and Esav, and maybe it started before him and Esav, but something got in, and it's not going to get resolved unless all sorts of stuff happens. And the stuff that needs to happen is going to be very, very painful and very, very hard. And it requires Yosef's involvement. So Yosef knows, either because his father told him or he just plain knows, that he's about to be involved in a drama that is going to end up in some crazy place. And this whole thing only works with his brother. With his brothers. He cannot, in other words, he's about to go through a drama with his brothers, and it's not going to finish on day one of the drama. It's going to take 20-something years for this drama to play out. It has to play out a certain way. He's being prepared for it by his dreams. His dreams tell him that eventually his brothers are going to bow down to him, but what's going to happen until then? That the dreams don't necessarily say what's going to happen till then. So it seems like the dreams are preparing him for this, and etc. But when his father says, all right, I need you to go find your brothers. They're shepherding. This is like, this is the beginning of the mission. And he knows it, and that's why he says Hineni. That's what you say. That's what Yitzchak says on the way to the Akedah. And that's what he's saying on the way to seeing his brothers, because he is about to be involved in something. He is seeking what he is describing as Anochi. Anochi. Anochi is how God introduces himself at Sinai. God says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, asher otzeisicha mi'eretz Mitzrayim mibeis avadim. I am the Lord your God, who took you out of the land of Egypt from a house of bondage. That his goal is to get to there, but you can't get to there without being in Egypt and without being in a house of bondage. How are they going to end up in Egypt and in a house of bondage? They're going to end up there because they're going to sell Yosef to Egypt, and then this echo, this karma, this mita connected mita, is going to continue to play out. They sold him as a slave to Egypt. Now they need to be slaves in Egypt. And this thing is only going to be fixed when we finally go through slavery in Egypt and come out. So the meaning of his words to this We are getting a moment to see Yosef describing a plan that's only going to be finally played out over hundreds of years. When somebody's talking to an angel, you're getting the deepest expression of what's going on, because that's what it's about with angels. That's what they're interested in. That's what you say to them. You're bearing your soul to angels. Es achai anochi navakesh. With my brothers, I seek anochi. I can't do this on my own. It's not, without them, we don't get there. This is all of us together. Without them, we don't get there. I have to, somehow it has to be that we do this together. And it's going to be terribly rocky in the beginning, terribly scary, terribly painful, he's going to be alone. He is going to be on the brink of being killed. He's going to be, etc., on more than one occasion. And Yaakov is going to go through terrible suffering. And the brothers are going to, Yehuda is going through it. The other brothers are going through it. And then they're going to finally be in Egypt, and they're going to be horrified by the fact that Yosef is the second in command in Egypt. And then they're going to have to go through that. And everybody, in order to finally come out as the Jewish people at Sinai, at that moment when God says, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, this is the moment. We achieved the complete fixing of everything that happened. It even says that. At Sinai, it says, the Zohar says, Paska Zuhamasam, that the filth, that whatever was in them from the Yetzer Hara left them at Sinai. It just left them at Sinai at that moment. It's like there was a complete cleanse. That was the moment. And God introduced them. I am the Lord your God, who took you out of Egypt, who took you out of the house of bondage. It's like being revealed to the people that they had finally achieved the fixing of whatever this thing is. And this trek towards the fixing is happening at this moment, and this encounter with the angel. It's why the angel doesn't warn him. He doesn't need warning. Yosef knows what he's going into. The angel goes, okay, proceed in this direction. So what was the point for us to know about this angel moment? Why was there even an angel moment there? But I think the point was to show us his innermost quest. What is his quest? What is he looking for on the inside? And so we get that brief moment. Es achai anochi mavakesh. With my brothers, I seek anochi. So that's what I have for you from that moment, from the secret doorway behind the wall. But also to suggest that if this is the case, that there can be things like this, where in order to fix certain things, you have to go through tests and trials, that we can assume that we're in that some kind of test and trial like that. But I feel like it's important to echo Yosef's words, Es achai anochi mavakesh. If I'm on one of those quests, which I assume I am, then I'm not on this quest by myself. I'm on this quest with my brethren. And even if those brethren don't look right now like they want to be on any quests with me, or even if our relationship is fraught, but I cannot succeed alone. I can only succeed with my brethren and sistren. Es achai anochi mavakesh. If the angel would approach me, I would have to say that as well. And all of us should have to say that. We're on some kind of quest. We are seeking anochi. We are seeking out the proverbial I, but only with our brethren. That is, even if we can't picture how,
do it alone.
Yeah, but it doesn't just mean, like in Yosef's case, it doesn't just mean that I'm looking to them for their initial support because I love them and they love me. This is all my brothers, even if they don't love me. And even if I don't love them, this is, I need to, and that this doesn't work without everybody together. And this is the case with whatever quest we're on as a Jewish people. It only gets fulfilled if it's with all of us. And how it all works out and how it all plays out may be difficult, and it may involve harrowing experiences, etc. But that's what we're seeking out. We're seeking out the Anochi, we're seeking out that proverbial I. And there's a promise we're going to get there, just like Yosef had his dreams. And in Yosef's dreams, he was shown that it is going to work out. You know, what do they take out of Egypt when they go out of Egypt? You know what they take out of Egypt? What they carry with them? Yosef's bones. Why do they carry Yosef's bones? He's going all the way to there eventually. He's going to go to the land of Israel. But I'm saying the fact that they highlighted this is the final stages of that quest that he was on, that Yosef was on. But we're also on this quest, and we're promised that there's going to be a messianic age, and that in the end it's going to work out. But we have to stick to this notion, et achai, with my brethren. Only, as it says on the posters and on the words, and on my watch, this is my souvenir watch from my trip to Israel. It says, Biyachad ninatzeach. Together we will be victorious. It only can happen with all of us, not some of us. It can only happen with all of us. And until we get to that all of us part, it's not going to happen.
I hope I live that long.
I am certain you will. Biyachad ninatzeach. There is no them, only us. Okay, I am very grateful for our time, for your time, for putting up with the fact that I started a different meeting. I was talking to a blank screen for 5 minutes. Be well.